The other day at the Santa Monica Library at the Tulsi Gabbard event, I interviewed Jane Albrecht, the Malibu Democratic Club president, and I talked to her about accountability versus unity. Take a look. Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pastor Jardula, and I am here with who?
Jane Albrecht.
And Jane Albrecht, what do you do?
I'm president of the Malibu Democratic Club.
Well, thank you very much for taking this interview.
You're welcome.
So, there's a couple questions I've been dying to ask you since I saw you on Twitter yesterday, whatnot.
Okay.
You speak of unity.
Yes.
Now, ever since 2016, the day after the election, we've heard Democrats, leaders of the Democratic Party, people like yourself who are leaders of clubs, that we need to unite together.
Yeah.
However, progressives feel that we can't have any unity until we have some accountability. So when you say unity, what in essence do you mean when it comes to unity? Because without accountability, what do we have?
Well, I don't think you have to do away with accountability in order to have unity. I've found that most Democrats endorse the following: social justice, economic justice, health care for all, education, civil rights, things like that. Mostly what we disagree on is how we get there. So we in Malibu, and Malibu, like many communities, but certainly a wonderful thing about Malibu is that our citizens are engaged and passionate. But like most strengths, it's also your weakness.
Yeah. Our
citizens are engaged and passionate. So we don't want to squelch debate. We promote debate. We want lively debate. But we wanted to make the Malibu Democratic Club a place where all Democrats are welcome and respected. By that, we don't mean you have to think alike.
Yeah.
We encourage vigorous debate. But in debating, you can still debate vigorously but respectfully, and realize that the person at the other end of the debate who may differ with you on a particular issue or a particular measure is not the enemy.
Yeah.
And actually the whole history of our country is that you tend to get better ideas if you start listening to each other and put more minds to work on an issue. So that's where we're coming from. We know campaigns are made of passion, and they should be. But I think occasionally we have to step back and say, okay, this was a good campaign, good candidates. And I'm not just talking about 2018, but I'm talking about whatever race it is. Good candidates, well debated, well fleshed out. Not everybody can win. One person won. Maybe the next person will win the next time.
Yeah.
And remember that at the end of the day, we need to come together and take back our country. And that's really what it's about.
Well, you talk about coming together, and I still want to stand there. I'm not going to try to just harp on certain things, but once again, like I said, can you show me some examples, though, of some ways that, let's say, establishment or Democratic leaders have reached out to progressives to say, hey, we're accountable for this, so let's not bash each other, let's unify. Because you also did say yesterday that it's important for some of us to come together on the left to beat Donald Trump. There's a lot of people out there who feel, hey, you know what?
We have to do more than come together on the left.
Okay.
We have to come together. All Democrats will need to come together. It's not going to be an easy race to win. I think we will have a fabulous candidate in the end, but we should never kid ourselves that this is going to be an easy race to win.
Yeah.
Not only does he have the power of the incumbency, but they have shown that they're willing to stoop to just about anything to win an election.
Yeah.
So our challenge is to come together. And
can't be the same said for the Democrats in the primaries, that they'll stoop to anything to win elections themselves. I mean, because there was a lot of false flags, a lot of stuff going on in that Democratic primaries. And like I said,
one are you talking about?
I'm talking about 2016, the Democratic primaries. I mean, a lot of people.
Presidential primary?
I'm talking about the Democratic primary. Yeah, the Democratic primary between Bernie and Hillary. A lot of people feel that there wasn't any accountability, and I think that's why we saw that question yesterday at your Democratic club. Is like, hey, if there's no accountability and they cheat us again, will you stand alone? Because a lot of people, and let me just make this one point, a lot of people think that the progressives in the establishment or the centrists or whatever you want to call them are not going to come together. That a lot of people on the left are now looking for independent votes and libertarian votes, and that's why they stand for Tulsi, because they don't think that we're going to ever come together because there's been no accountability.
I don't think there's been no accountability.
Can you give me an example of some?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just watching the watch because we're going to get kicked out at a certain point. I was closely involved in the campaign in 2016. I thought Bernie and Hillary were both good candidates with different strengths. I supported Bernie, and then when he lost in the primary, I supported Hillary contentedly. and I've known Hillary as an official for a long time. I think she would have made a good president. She wouldn't have done maybe everything that people that supported Bernie wanted, but she would have been a hell of a lot better than what we've got now. Look at the situation of Gore versus George W. Bush. A lot of people opposed him at the time. They wanted Ralph Nader and others, and it cost us Florida. And in costing us Florida, it cost us. Who would have been better for the environment, Gore or George W. Bush?
Yeah.
So I think political change is a gradual process. I think pushing for it and this energy we see, and I think there's no question that the movement that started with Bernie caught on. I pointed out to Bernie supporters at the DNC in Philadelphia how much progress they made in 9 months.
Yeah.
They felt defeated. I said, you're not defeated. You got huge changes in the DNC rules. So, I mean, we'd have to sit down and talk about the specific things you would like, and that is beyond the scope of our discussion tonight.
Yeah.
But the simple truth is we're a country of 300 million.
Yeah.
You never get 100% of what you want in a politician. What I see of this field of candidates right now is I've been able to go and hear several of them speak, some barely known. What impresses me is they're all really smart, and they've all got something very valuable to contribute to our national discussion about what direction we want our country to go in.
Okay, that's fair. I think they're very smart. So.
You know, in the specifics of how we bring together, I think this is a discussion we as Democrats have to have for the next couple months and as we go through the primaries together.
Do you think that some of the same things that bothered the progressives in 2016, we see it all over again with these candidates in 2020? For instance, Joe Biden, the day he announced he raised $6 million, but it was money coming from Comcast and other friendly people. And that's where the progressives start to yell and say, hey, we don't have any change. We have no accountability. With no accountability, once again, the same things are happening over and over again.
I think the other thing to first of all, I sympathize 100% with you that I think money in our politics and the way it's allowed to be donated now is the number one challenge facing our country. It corrupts our democracy. I'm not talking about anybody being corrupt, but it corrupts our process of democracy. So I love the fact that the Democrats introduced, I think it was H.R. 1, to start changing money in politics. Very, very important. So what we really, I guess I'd like us to get away a little bit from labeling each other.
Yeah, I hear you. You said that it was important to press unity, so I just wanted to see some examples.
Because I need to talk to you more about what, in your mind, and maybe we'll have this opportunity in the future, what do you mean when you say you're a progressive?
Yeah.
And what we've learned, I've also gone to many events put together in Los Angeles, it's wonderful, where people have brought our freshman class of Democrats that won in Republican or purple districts. And I went to find out, and they were progressives, I went to find out, how did these people get elected in these districts? And how did they get elected as progressives in these districts? How did they get elected supporting Medicare for all or universal health care or any number of other things that you would think would be impossible in Ohio or something like that? And as I listened to each one of them, it was very clear. A, they knew their constituents. They knew what they needed. They were of the people.
Yeah.
And then they proposed concrete solutions to those very real problems. And when they so rather than putting labels, they said, well, do you want universal health care? They said, yes. Do you want clean water? They said, yes. Would you support this proposal? They said, yes. And these candidates, just like our presidential candidates, they're mind-bogglingly intelligent with mind-bogglingly wonderful backgrounds and very down to earth, and they connect with the people. And so I look to them as how we can come together as a country. So I don't think there's any one answer. I think the other thing is anytime you have an election, there's winners and losers. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I know. I just think I think progressives are looking for a fair winner or loser, though.
Very hard. Yeah. Whoever you support, to put all that passionate, to the most passionate supporters, to deal with that loss, including the candidate.
Oh, I understand.
You know, and yet it's no different from the rest of life. you have to accept a loss and move on. And you can't hold it as a resentment.
I know, but listen, I don't think anybody's holding it as a resentment. I want to correct you real quick. We just want accountability. And once again, not the labels.
And you're going to have to explain to me, maybe more than we have time to.
We'll get out. Just finish on up. I'm sorry.
I would like to know more of what you mean by accountability, and that's beyond our discussion tonight. Maybe we can have another discussion about accountability.
Okay.
But I don't. In terms of accountability in general, I think I'm all for it. We need more accountability in our government.
I think that would be a lot better to
see a lot more accountability in the White House.
Listen, I would too, but I'm not one of those people, and there's a lot of people in that room today that don't believe that Russia handed Trump the election. They believe that the Democratic Party handed Donald Trump that election. A lot of people in that room that I know today. Well, trust me, I know a lot of people in that room, and they feel that way.
And that's something we should talk about.
Yeah, we should. Well,
I'll give you something else. Russia did interfere with the election, but what they don't talk about possibly is domestic dirty tricks in elections. So how much of this went on, and it's just distracted off of, get the Russians out, because what? Dirty tricks have been around for a long time.
Let's get together for another conversation. Well, let's just sound off. Thank you very much. I'm with who one more time?
Jane Albrecht.
Thank you. From the Malibu Democratic Club, the president. Thank you, Jane.
Okay.
Convo Couch, Pasta Jardula. If you like that video and you want to see more of that content, go over to our Convo Couch YouTube, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell. We also have a Twitter, a Facebook, a YouTube, and an Instagram. For Pasta Jardula, Convo out.